So good morning YouTube, it is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle the Happy Medium, and in this video today off the back of a sitting I did last night with connections to a lady who come to see me about her child who was in the spirit world, who was a daughter of hers, I am going to talk about grief, how grief affects us, why grief affects us, and if we can ever move forward from grief. So with the connections to the lady last night who come to see me for a private sitting, this lady was very, very upset. Her daughter had not long gone to the spiritual world. She was in great need to know that her daughter was fitting well on the other side, and also could not understand or grasp the concept of why it is that her daughter had been taken so young from her to the spirit world. And I hear this question time and time again, Danielle, why do the spirit world take people so young back to the spiritual world? And in short, the answer is because that was the agreement that was made with the spirit world before that soul came to the earth plane. Every soul that comes to the earth plane has an agreement. It has lessons in which that it needs to learn in order so that it can gain knowledge and continue to keep growing either here to the earth or within the spiritual world there. That is of no great comfort to all of us who have lost children, including myself, and no day is any easier than other days for the loss of any child or any sort of younger person there, or anybody who was taken that little bit quicker than we would really like. I know from personal experience in losing my son, it is something that sticks with me every day. It's a thing that is constantly evolving. It's something that is constantly having to be addressed. And it is something that as a mother, you never truly ever get over. It is probably something that will live with me forever. It's something that will probably never leave me. And it is something that I feel will always have been my fault as a mother, as I know to the mother who was sat with me last night, who broke her heart because she thought it was her fault. She couldn't protect her child. So grief comes in many different stages, and I know from personal experience there is a lot of tears, then there's a lot of depression, then there's a lot of anger, and even with all of that mixed in amongst it, it can all come at once. There's waves of grief. Sometimes things seem so good and you are moving forward really nicely. Other times it feels like you are standing completely still in a place that nobody seems to understand and nobody seems to get. And unfortunately, grief is a path that you walk, and you walk alone. Many will join you, many will have been in similar situations to you, but nobody will have had your experience with that loss, whether it be a child, whether it be an older child, or whether it be somebody that's so fundamentally important to you that grief just does never seem to dissipate. It is something inside your soul that is so sad. It's a sadness that you learn to live with, but a sadness that is always there. It is a missing that you've never missed anything before in your life, and it is something that haunts you quite frequently when times come around of anniversaries, birthdays, things like this. And it's something that I find on a day-to-day basis, something that I have to not address, but something that I can look at some days and other days I cannot. So when this lady come to see me yesterday, I understood exactly how she felt, and I knew exactly where she was in that particular moment. And I understand the questions that so desperately yous out there look for, because I was one of them people at that time. And it has been nearly 15 years since my son went to the spirit world, yet there is still every day that I go in search of the answers with my guides and ask the questions as to why. Because just like yous, I'm not completely happy with the answers that I get, and I often ask more every day, especially now more so I'm a professional medium, of the understanding of the contracts, why them contracts are in place, and why it is that the best get took far too soon. So for the questions in relation to grief and how you can manage your grief, the best person to manage it is you. You will do it the way that you feels best. and the way that you ultimately work through it on a day-to-day basis. And I would tell anybody who talks to me about grief, nobody can tell you how to walk that path, nobody can tell you how to live that path, and nobody can tell you what to do with your feelings and not to do with your feelings, because they're yours and they will always be yours. The only thing that I can give you, and the only thing that I will tell you, is that I know my son's in a good place. I know that he's with the people that I love, which is my nana and everybody else who's up there with my ex-partner. And I know that them people will take good care of my son until it's time for me to go back towards the spirit world. For those who are here on the earth plane, who are struggling on a day-to-day basis, know that there's nothing wrong with them feelings. There's nothing wrong with the place in which that you sit, and understand that everything takes time. But that grief will only ever dissipate. It will never truly ever go away. For them who are really struggling, I recommend that you see your GP or your medical professional, because sometimes it can manage over into depression, which is exactly where mine went. And it was there for a long time, and it took me a long time to get myself back into a good place. And every now and then, I do still trip, or I do still fall back there, especially around them special times or them Christmas times. And more so when it's quite prominent, like times of 16th, 18th, 21st, these types of things. Always remember the memories. They are important. They're good to have. Try not to look at them too much, because it's not always helpful for you, as I know from personal experience. But what I will say is grief is a path that you will walk, and you will walk alone. Those will join you, but nobody can walk it for you. So I hope this has helped them out there who are struggling a little bit with grief. For the lady who came to see me last night, I wish you the very best in all. As with everybody who watches this video, know that it is a process. It is something that will happen when the time is right for you, and there is no time frame. And some people will move quicker than others, and that's okay. You just say to you in your grief when it's time for you. I've been Danielle, better known as Danielle, a happy medium, and I will see you all very, very soon.